Hi, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that stock footage of the worst beer pour in history. The reason I wanted to share this message before we get started is I want to remind you of the risk involved in earning the YFI token with Yearn.Finance. So I have been using Yearn.Finance to maximize my lending interest earned with Y tokens since January or February when it launched. However, as far as I know, Andre is the only person that works on it. As far as I know, there are no audits beyond his expertise in developing smart contracts. As far as I know, no one else works with him. However, one thing that did come up just this evening is the fact that Curve announced that they're co-signers of the Yearn.Finance governance multi-sig using this address. And that means that they were attempting to address the fact that the power of Andre, who is, again, the founder of Yearn.Finance, that he had a lot of power in his hands to control the minting of YFI and to, in other words, control the protocol before passing this along to what will be the DAO that runs all of this. When I have staked my funds in YGOV.FINANCE, I've accepted that I could lose it all, and that if that were to happen, I could walk away from it and move on with my life pretty quickly. So that means there could be a smart contract bug. That means that previously, actually, I was more worried about the centralized control that Andre might hold. But I am relieved to see that now there is a pre-DAO multi-sig and that one of the signers is Curve. At the end of the day, this Y pool, which is actually part of the mechanism is powered by Yearn.Finance, has $238 million in it. Now, not all of that has been staked in the application that we're going to talk through today, which is YGOV.FINANCE. So when it says this project is in beta, use at your own risk, there's a lot of money in this right now. Please consider the risk that you're taking on by putting funds into this. And again, I am participating in it, but I am not a smart contract auditor, so I don't have an ability to judge how secure the code is, which is exactly why I'm warning you. Just please be cautious. Most of us don't have that ability. And I just want to make sure, per usual, that if I'm putting money into a DeFi app, that I truly can accept the consequences if that money were to be completely lost. All right, with that out of the way, let's get started with the rest of the tutorial and talk you through how all of this works. Today, I'm going to walk you through how to earn this new YFI token. There are a variety of ways to earn it. It mostly has to do with providing liquidity and then staking the LP token that you receive from it. This YFI token is the governance token of Yearn.Finance. I'm only going to focus on how to earn this. Please keep in mind the creator of the Yearn.Finance protocol himself actually said this is a valueless token. At the same time, I can't ignore the fact that when buyers and sellers stepped in on the decentralized exchanges, the price has gone up to 1,152. Probably has something to do with the fact that we all value this protocol so much. And there is a limit, I believe, of only 30,000 of these tokens. So take that for what it's worth. But I'm just going to focus on how to earn it, assuming that this could be worth zero one day. A little background on Yearn.Finance is that it's also referred to as iearn.finance. I think the name changed recently since like relaunching all of these new tools. This protocol is what has powered the Curve Y pool. So if I go to Curve, this is a pool that I've done tutorials on before, which if you click on Y, this is one of the many stablecoin pools where I've got DAI, USDC, Tether, and TrueUSD. Now, Curve allows me to swap between these stable coins, but the Yearn.Finance protocol is actually the magic in the background that is allowing my tokens, when they are deposited into Curve, to continually earn interest. So this protocol is actually moving, in this case, my DAI or my USDC, my Tether. It's moving those across different lending pools like a yield bouncer and helping to maximize the interest that I'm earning, whether I'm in Compound, whether I'm in DYDX. Anyways, that's all happening in the background. So the takeaway from this is that while Curve is a stable coin swap for most of us, in the background, those deposits are actually earning interest thanks to the magic of iEarn or Yearn.Finance. So we're actually stacking different mechanisms that are earning interest and ultimately in Curve doing market making or earning me trading fees when people are swapping in between these stable coins like DAI and USDC and Tether and True USD. So going back to the utility of the Yearn.Finance protocol, if you go to Yearn.Finance/earn, one of the very basic ways that I've used this in the past is I've just gone in here and I can deposit my DAI. And if I deposit my DAI, it's currently earning 5.3345%. And you can see the different rates here. So this would be a great way for me to maximize my lending interest if I'm wanting to stay in DAI, or if I'm wanting to stay in USDC, or if I'm wanting to stay in SUSD. In this case, it looks like I'm earning 1.8581% with SUSD. So those are options. But again, most of us have chosen to skip just earning through a yield bouncer and then taken the opportunity to do what we've referred to as yield farming and stack lending interest with market making. And so many of us then have just deposited our stable coins here in whatever ratio you want, because Curve will ultimately swap them so that they represent the different percentage breakdowns of those different stable coins in the pool. So long story short, this is where we started. This was, again, back in February, and this quickly became popular because it was earning the most lending interest of all the different yield bouncer strategies. Then it got added to this Y pool, which enabled us to stack market making and lending interest. And now there's one more component to it. So this little deposit and stake option allows me to take the token that I receive, which is yCrv. This is not a governance token. It is simply just, it's an LP token, liquidity provider, or it's an IOU that Curve gives me so that I have a claim on this huge pool of money, which currently has 233 million in it. That's the token that lets me pull my money back out. So if I understand that, staking it now gives me a new opportunity with these new governance tokens, which Andre created without assigning any sort of value to them and just releasing it into the wild. If you go to YGOV.FINANCE/staking, by staking the yCrv token, if I click on Yearn here, it'll show me, in my case, how much I've actually staked. So I've staked all of it. I am using my DeFi.ETH account for my tutorials. And you can see here that I have staked all of it. And so far in the last 24 hours or so, I've earned 0.06 YFI. If we hop over to a free tool that someone created and also provided here at yieldfarming.info/YGOV/YCrv, you'll notice that I can connect my MetaMask, and then I have the ability to see a breakdown of my forecasted profit. So this program is only going to last 7 days. Based on the 7 days, based on the fact that I currently have $4,634 in total that's been deposited into Curve, into the Y pool, and that has now been staked. At this point, I am anticipating making 379% APY. And that is a weekly ROI in USD that is 7.29%. So my weekly estimate here is anticipated at 0.29 YFI and 0.29 YFI at a price of 1134 YFI. If that's in US dollars, this is the price currently on CoinGecko. I would have an anticipated weekly profit then of $338. So $338 in a single week based off of 4,634 put in means that I'm making 379% APY. Hopefully that all makes sense, but I would go to yieldfarming.info/YGOV_YCurve to check it out for yourself. My next question should be, how do I get my money into this curve pool and ultimately have it staked with Yearn so that I'm earning this YFI token? There's just a few steps I need to take. I could actually go to curve.fi/iearn/deposit, and that's fine. Like, this is just one other website I have to go to. Just be aware that, like, let's say if I was going to deposit, let's pretend I was going to do 100 USDC. I want to make sure I put zeros here so it doesn't ask to approve anything else. Whichever tokens I'm depositing, I'm going to have to enable approval to move those tokens from my wallet. So just be aware, if I have all 4 of these tokens that I'm depositing, I'm going to have to do 4 different transactions and pay gas on each of them to say, yes, you can move my tokens. So if I were on the Curve interface here, instead of just clicking deposit, I might as well click deposit and stake. And it will take me through a series of 4 different transactions. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this one because I've already put money into the pool. But just to give you a sense of what this looks like, remember, every token here that you see, if I'm depositing it, there is a preceding transaction that will ask, am I allowed to spend your USDC? And so per usual, I will click edit. I would go to advanced and I would check what is the gas price. I'm always checking at ethgasstation.info just to see what is the current gas price, which it is. A transaction would go through in less than 30 minutes if it's 39 GWE. So if I was going to push this through, I would probably lower the gas price so that I can pay less money. So I went from like $1.50 to 92 cents. And then the other thing, I just always double check, what is that permission to move 100 USDC? Good. I'm not giving unlimited permission, but I can always click edit here if I needed to change that. And then once you're ready, you can hit confirm. So I'm going to hit reject here, but if I were to hit confirm, what would happen then is I would see another transaction. So it'll just pop up with MetaMask automatically, and then it'll ask me to do the exact same steps again, just to actually execute depositing the USDC. And then it'll push me through 2 more transactions, enable or give approval to move my yCrv token, which is the token that I receive for becoming an LP in this pool. And then finally executing staking it. So those 4 transactions. Alternatively, I can use Zapper.fi. So this is a dashboard that allows me to see all of my assets. You can see here, it shows me my total assets, total debt, my net worth, and then it breaks it down into whether or not I'm in liquidity pools or in yield farming opportunities, which platforms those are in. It's really cool. It's 100% free. All you have to do is connect your wallet when you go to zapper.fi. Then I'm going to click on invest. Now, they have hundreds of zaps that are designed to allow you to zap your money into a liquidity provider opportunity. So if you go here, what you do is you just scroll down a bit to here. And if you just search a protocol like Curve, it'll give me all the different Curve opportunities they have. And the one that I'm looking for is the yCrv. That's the one that I'm currently in. And so if I were going to work with this, if I was going to deposit money, just like I did on the other interface, I, I would argue this is a much prettier interface to use. Uh, One of the really cool things they let you do is you can start with whatever token they have available here. And also you'll tend to see more tokens that show up in your own wallet. So that's, if you have a token in your wallet, you should end up seeing it here if it's in, as long as it's a pretty common ERC20 token. And then I could say, hey, let's go ahead and put in an ETH. I don't even have to start then with stable coins. Here, I have to start with DAI, USDC, Tether, or True USD. Here, I can start with another token, and then it'll swap it out for me, and it saves me a bunch of gas and transactions to do so. So other than that, I would just choose what gas setting. I can still modify the gas setting. Like let's say I choose average here at 40 GWE. If I hit confirm, I'm going to go through the same steps as always. I'm going to connect my wallet in this case. Then I'm going to give approval for Zapper.fi to actually move my Ether in this case. So if I was going to go about this, again, I could go ahead and edit maybe the gas fee, check it out and see how much I'm moving. In this case, let's pretend that ethgasstation.info shows that this is the lowest gas price to get a transaction done in less than 30 minutes. And then I would hit confirm. So that'll take you through, I believe, a total of 4 transactions. First, to give approval to move your token. Then it will deposit it into the Curve pool. That's the second. The third one is to give approval to move your yCrv LP token that you'll receive. And then the fourth one is to deposit or stake that into YGOV.FINANCE. Assuming that I followed all of these steps and I've now successfully staked in the YGOV.FINANCE pool, I want to go to YGOV.FINANCE, click on stake. So there's a number of options here. You're going to connect your wallet per usual, but once you do that, the pool that I've staked in is the very first one. This is the most popular one that everyone is focused on. This is where I'm earning the YFI token. I click here, I can see what I've staked. Keep in mind that if I put, let's pretend I put $5,000 into this Curve pool, I'm always going to have less staked. It's because the yCrv LP token represents the money I put in plus additional interest and fees that are being paid out. And so that means that it is technically, it's a more valuable token. So if you put in my case, if I put in $5,000 into this, please don't freak out if you notice that currently staked, it's a lot less than the tokens you put in. It's normal. It's just because, again, you're using a token that represents more value than just a stable coin. You can see that I'm accruing this YFI token. It happens in real time. I'd say if you check it in a few hours, depending on how much value you stake, you'll probably notice that this will show up very shortly. If I hadn't staked my tokens, I have a few options here. I could stake them now. I could claim my rewards. So let's say I want to take these because I notice that the YFI token is currently trading on a DEX for over $1,000. I could then choose to claim my reward, and then that now is my token, which I could technically go sell for profits on a DEX. And then also you can choose to claim your rewards and unstake. And that just means that now I'm no longer beholden to this platform, and my yCrv LP tokens are available for me to cash out and get my stable coins back out of this pool. It's very important to note that if I do not unstake my tokens or exit, claim, and unstake my Curve tokens, I won't be able to get my stable coins back from this curve pool. So that means if you're staking here, don't get confused and later on say, why is this curve pool not letting me unstake unstake my stable coins? It's because you need to exit from this first. You have basically given up your yCrv token so that Yearn.Finance has the ability to know how much you've got in the curve pool and then how much of these YFI tokens you should be earning. There's a second option for me to earn the YFI token. If I go to YGOV.FINANCE, I click on stake and then click on this balancer pool. This refers to, and I'll put this into my show notes, this refers to a balancer pool that has 98% DAI and 2% YFI governance token. It has 63 million in liquidity. All you need to know is that in order to add liquidity here, you can do it through just a single asset like DAI or the YFI token, but I would say that most people are probably looking to take, let's say, their YFI that they've earned and then to add that to the pool. So if I do that, I have to add it in proportionally with these two assets. Actually, let's make it easy here. We'll put in, if I put in 238 DAI, this is how little YFI token I would need to put in. And notice it's being put in proportionally so that it's 98% DAI and only 2% YFI token. So you can do a reverse calculation on that. I might look and see how many rewards I have. I would then claim the rewards. I'd then have 0.06 YFI in my wallet, and I could go back to this pool, put in 0.06. 0.06, let's pretend that that is using a price of $1,100 for YFI. So 0.06 times 1,100 is $66 or DAI, let's say in this case, divide by 0.02, because this only represents 2% of the pool. So now I'm gonna need to put in a total of about $3,300 into this. And let's say 3,300 minus the $66 of YFI, that's about 3,234. So anyways, this is another option. And I'm just taking advantage of the YFI token that I've earned. I'm going to this second pool, which is a balancer pool. I'm adding that plus whatever amount of DAI if I have those funds available. So obviously someone would have to have 3,200 DAI available in order to become an LP in this case. Another option is I could just deposit the YFI token. So there's nothing wrong with this. It's just that I would be selling 98% of my YFI token that I'd earned here. So I just want to be conscious of that when I enter a balancer pool, if I enter with 0.06 YFI, 98% of that value is going to get swapped to DAI, so that this is a proper ratio that allows me to become a liquidity provider. A third option, if I go to YGOV.FINANCE, click on stake, there is a governance pool. So this is a third pool, not the curve Y pool, not the balancer pool with 98% DAI and 2% YFI. This is yet another balancer pool that was set up, pool number 3. If you check out Darren's thread here, which I'm gonna make sure I throw into the show notes and link to it. This third pool is 98% yCrv. So this would be for someone, this is a lot of details to keep track of. This would be for someone who went to Curve and they chose to not stake. So what they did is they deposited stable coins and went through, let's say, 2 transactions. Now they have a yCrv LP token. Then they went to this balancer pool and they added, there it is. This is the yCrv token. Actually, I think this is easier to understand because it's made up of YDAI, YUSDC, YTether, and YTrueUSD. And it's 98% that and 2% Wi-Fi. So this is just another way to do it, but this would require that I was someone who went to Curve, deposited, became an LP, chose not to stake. So all I would do is click deposit. Then I go here and I, stake that yCrv token plus the Wi-Fi, maybe the Wi-Fi rewards that I've earned elsewhere. This is for someone who probably has too much money on their hands. This is definitely not something that I even could consider, but good for someone else who has that money available. There is one last way, a fourth way for me to earn the Wi-Fi token. If I go to YGOV.FINANCE and click on vote, I'll end up connecting my MetaMask wallet per usual. And then these are different proposals. And when I vote, I lock up my Wi-Fi token. Now, please be mindful that that token, I believe, is then locked up for however long that vote is live. I think Darren actually mentioned it here. Let's see. Yep, there we go. We'll lock your votes in the governance pool around 3 days until the vote ends. So keep that in mind that I will link to the website that gives a description of these different proposals. And then if I go to YGOV.FINANCE and if I am now voting with these Wi-Fi tokens, which, at this point, according to CoinGecko, have value, and I can, go to a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, or I could go to Balancer. I also have the option of going through like a DEX aggregator like 1inch.exchange, which tends to get you a better rate and you pay less gas. But I am sacrificing the ability to sell to sell the Wi-Fi token if I go to this YGOV.FINANCE/vote. And then if I choose, let's say with proposal number 1, let's pretend I'm going to vote against this. I would just click vote against. Those Wi-Fi tokens that I end up using, those get locked now until this vote is over. But I'm earning the Wi-Fi token just for voting. So that's yet another way that I'm earning. Let's assume that I just voted for a proposal. I can scroll down to fee rewards. This is under the staking option in YGOV.FINANCE. And then I must have voted in a proposal recently. And then I also must have at least 1,000 balancer pool tokens staked in the governance pool, which that refers back to, here we go, going back to staked, going back to this. This refers to the pool that, think of it this way, I went here to the balancer pool that had 98% yCrv tokens, 2% Wi-Fi. I put that liquidity in here. Then I came back to YGOV.FINANCE and I click stake and I click on governance and then I stake those tokens. So I'm staking that BPT balancer pool token from pool number 3. Then after I have voted on one of the proposals, the fact that I have this token from the balancer pool with yCrv and YFI, and the fact that I voted on a proposal, I click on fee rewards, and then I stake those 2 tokens. This is, I think, as long as I'm understanding this correctly, I think this is the most complicated one of all. And again, this is me just continually earning more Wi-Fi tokens. All right, so let's summarize all the risks involved. First off, there's smart contract risk. By using Yearn or iearn.finance, the protocol, I am being exposed to lots of different DeFi lending pools like Aave, like DYDX, like Compound, and others. On top of that, I have exposure to the smart contracts that are Yearn or iearn.Finance. Then I'm also exposed in this scenario, since I'm using the curve Y pool, I'm exposed to those smart contracts as well. And then I guess I'm not sure if it needs to be differentiated here, but YGOV.FINANCE is a new application. And Andre notes up here, this project is in beta, use at your own risk. I mean, take that for what it's worth. However, I could choose to buy insurance from nexusmutual.io. I'm not too concerned about a liquidity crisis at this point. I guess technically, if everyone rushed to remove their money from Curve, I could be in a pickle if I still have my money staked. Let's pretend I voted. My money's now locked up in iearn, the YGOV.FINANCE staking module for 3 days until the poll ends. Meanwhile, people are ripping their money out of Curve, maybe because a stable coin has failed, or I don't know, maybe there's some sort of like someone figured out a way to drain money out of it. Anyways, just thinking of the ultimate doomsday scenario, I would be in a pretty bad place then. And then the last thing, of course, is stable coins. I'm using stable coins, so just per usual, I have to worry about whether or not a stable coin peg could fail, but I use them every day. And to be quite honest, it's just something I don't really think a whole lot about, because if that happens, well, probably I'll be cooked anyways. But that's my take on stablecoins depegging. All right, so that's all I've got for you today. Thanks so much for joining me. I think the key takeaway for me is I am looking to uh, continue to stake my yCrv tokens in the YGOV.FINANCE/staking under Yearn. This is easy enough for me to do. I might choose in the future to claim these rewards, which by future I mean in the next 24 hours. I might choose to claim those rewards and then go to balancer pool number 2, and I could add that liquidity, and then I could come back to this pool and I could go to the balancer pool here, and I could then stake that balancer pool token. So that's just another way for me to earn the YFI token. If anyone else has questions or comments, or you see something that maybe I've said incorrectly, please reach out in the YouTube comments and on Twitter. I'd love to get your feedback or find out if there's any corrections that I need to make here. But otherwise, it doesn't get much more sophisticated than this. So I hope it's helpful. Thanks for watching.